You know, obviously now it's more mainstream, it's glitzy. If someone has some new product to rub on your skin, it is a little sickening. You know, I've been in the business 25 years, and I'm actually starting to feel like a little bit of an old timer, even though, you know, I don't look it, I don't feel old. But I understand the romance of when tattooing was illegal in the city, when you had to know somebody, you know, to get a good tattoo and that sort of thing.
I think there's always going to be that sort of underbelly of people judging tattooing as not really socially acceptable. And there's part of that I like because I think it tends to bond people in the industry closer together rather than having it as a highly commercial, viable profession.
The artwork is impressive nowadays. These fantastic artists, but one of the things that does bother me is a lot of people don't know the techniques and learn the old time techniques that we learned from scratch to how to do things, and a lot of that has been lost from with the new artist.
Wow, I know people, I swear to you, that have been tattooing less than a year that have apprentices and are teaching them how to tattoo. And it's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous. I would say probably 1 out of 100 people tattooing today should be tattooing, or I would consider an artist. You know, the rest of them are just chuckleheads and ass clowns that are friggin' out there trying to make $1 off it. You know,
80% of the kids out there don't know how to fucking make a needle. There's a lot of people that can't even tune a fucking machine. They buy a machine because their other one quit working. It's like, you know why? Because that screw fucking moved, you moron. You know, it's crazy.
but it's stuff like that. And you show these to new kids, man, they don't know. You know, they don't know where these frames came from, or where any part of the history of it. You know, and they don't give two shits. They just want to come in and tattoo and make quick buck, be rock stars, and you know, get a hot girlfriend. That's their whole intention for doing it, because it's cool, and we put it on TV, and you know, we've glorified it. But you know, I guess it is what it is. You can't go back and make that any different. You know, I wish you could.
The people that are behind the tattoo reality shows, you know, the people that are really, you know, again, the powers that be, those people don't have any tattoos, and it's all about ratings for them. And you know, it's about, even though they may not mean to exploit it, they do exploit it. They believe that you need all this drama added into the show, and if there's not enough, you know, naturally, we'll inject some. We'll just make this to where, you know, these guys aren't getting along, or you get some real wacky clients, or you know, some kind of, you know, bullshit like that, you know, to make it interesting. You know, and meanwhile, there's no disclaimer about, like, you know, hey, these tattoos are being performed by professionals. Do not try this at home. Do not purchase starter kits. Then, you know, then you'll see like something like Kat do a portrait in what appears to be 10 minutes of real time. No caption though that says actual tattoo time 4 or 5 hours, whatever it took. Actual healing time, you know, 4 weeks later. But it appears to the untutored viewer like that portrait was actually put on in 10 minutes. It could have taken 10 hours. And the tattoo heals up instantly. You know what I mean? And that's not the case. Now, everybody with a tattoo, all tattooers know better, but how many hundreds of thousands of people see that and they think that's the reality? Or they go to my shop or some other shop and they think, well, hell, Kat Von D did that portrait in 10 minutes. What do you mean it's going to take 4 hours? You know, you have to deal with this kind of crap. The fallout. We have to tell them, that's TV. That's not reality, but you know, people think it is.
People, you know, scream about the tattoo television shows. I absolutely think they're good things, because if you live in Podunk, Iowa, and you think you want to get a tattoo, it used to be that you would go into this tattoo shop. Now, you had no idea what you would find in there. Could be this big fat guy with Chinese food in his beard. It could be, you know, some sexual pervert who's, you know, going to take advantage of you. I mean, it's a biker. There's a big spectrum of tattoo shops and the way people work. I think the shows demonstrate that we're people, that you can come into a tattoo shop and be treated with respect, and that your project would be meaningful and applied with good art. And then people in Podunk, Iowa have a standard to look at. And if their local shop doesn't meet it, they can reject it. So I think that elevates our business rather than, I don't like the drama, and I don't like all the little, made up little storylines and all of that nonsense, but I think that it does give people a template for what they should expect when they walk into a tattoo shop, and I think that's a very good thing.
One of the things I do like about the commercialization of the tattoo shows and stuff, because, they have a lot to hate about, but they have brought on a better customer. And a lot of my customers now have let me easily talk them into bigger work, something more satisfying as an artist. And they let us be more creative. They understand that that's part of the process.
I just found out today that there's a Barbie doll, Tattoo Barbie, that has come out. And this doll has all these little tattoos that you can put on and take off, and she can get covered or not. And these little 4-year-old girls are going to be playing with this little Barbie doll and putting tattoos on her and taking them off. In our culture, all of these children are being primed at the age of 2, 3, 4 to think that tattoos are normal. And then on the media, of course, as the casualization of clothing becomes more and more apparent, we see sports stars, models, musicians and so forth, all, running around completely covered practically. So what I think has happened is just the whole casualization of our culture and all of these kids being primed has created a whole new, there's no stigma to tattooing.
I mean, it's a good thing they hurt, because if not, every pussy in the world would have one. You know what I mean? If you could just go in and just have somebody draw on you and it's permanent. Well, I didn't feel. You know how many more people would have them? Virtually everyone would have them. So it's a good thing they still hurt.